Alright, hi. This is a reaction to this guy on YouTube. His name is Alex Griffin. It's the full timeline of Chris Griffin. Essentially, it's the full life of what Chris Griffin actually does, and he's going to be going over it. This is a reaction to that.
Family Guy wants you to believe Chris Griffin is always 14. Every episode he wears the same shirt, has the same voice, the same confused look on his face. 24 seasons, and somehow this kid has been stuck in freshman year longer than Peter has held a job. So explain this.
Hi, everybody. Sorry we're late.
Stop apologizing. You sound like a woman.
Oh, I suppose one of you has to. Oh, what a nice blouse, Vanessa.
Chris's wife.
Hold up. That is Chris Griffin, 40-something, married, walking into a family dinner late with a bitchy wife named Vanessa. Like he didn't just spend the last 2 decades being publicly labeled the dumbest kid in school. And this is how Chris's timeline gets weird. It gets really, really weird. Because Family Guy keeps him frozen at 14, but scattered across the show, it also gives him an entire life. He has a birth story, a miserable early childhood, a secret art career, multiple marriages, jobs, kids, a heart attack, a future wife, several deaths, and one timeline where he never exists at all. So no, this is not about how Chris was a dumb teenager for 24 seasons. This is the life story Family Guy keeps accidentally giving him, and then immediately taking back. Today, we're putting the whole damn thing back together. Chris Griffin's entire life, in order from the day he was born to every single time this show tried to erase it. Let's start with everything we know about his birth.
Peter, you can't just suck 200 pounds of fat out of yourself. It's not natural.
Come on, Lois. I feel great dropping that kind of weight all at once. You remember how good you felt after you had Chris?
That's it. That's the birth of Chris Griffin. That's all we know. He was an elephant boy. And the only other early childhood fact on record comes out a few years later, and it's much more sad.
Peter, poor Chris didn't get a single Valentine today from any of his classmates.
What? Why not?
Apparently, he's not well liked. Some of the kids think he's weird because he takes his shirt off to pee.
At birth, Chris was gigantic, and in preschool, Chris got 0 Valentines. He had a tough first few years in the world. And his parents decided the way to fix his sad Valentine's Day was to make up a magical man, Arthur Valentine.
Chris, you're gonna get tons of Valentines.
I am? From who?
From Arthur Valentine.
So their kid wouldn't notice nobody liked him. Here's the part that gets me. They never told him the truth. He's 14 now. Watch.
Well, I better send out a can of tuna fish and a cigar for Arthur Valentine. I can't wait to see what he brings me.
He's still doing the tuna fish and cigar. Peter's lie outlived the problem it was built for, and now it just lives in Chris's head rent-free forever. But the real first thing the show ever actually told us about Chris's personality had nothing to do with any of this. Episode 6, Season 1, the first real version of Chris Griffin.
Meg, I don't want to be in the Scouts anymore. I just want to draw. Listen, I was kind of hoping you could tell Dad, but try and open with a joke.
Tell him yourself.
He's an artist. That's the original Chris. A kid with one real talent and a dad he's too scared to tell about. And 1 season later, that talent briefly becomes the most successful thing anyone in the family's ever done. He gets into a New York gallery, he has a new name, Christabel, and a manager who looks Peter dead in the eye and explains the new arrangement.
Mr. Griffin, he's going to be a great artist. He now belongs to the public.
And apparently I'm dating Kate Moss. Oh, and don't say anything bad about her, because she might be here right now.
He now belongs to the public. The kid's been on the show for 18 episodes, and he's already been bought. Chris picks his dad in the end. The big exhibit turns out to be a painting of Peter, which is genuinely sweet. It's also pretty much the last time the show lets him be good at anything. From there, the show locks him into the role he'll hold for the next 20 years, the dumb teenage son. And his teen years are the only part of this timeline Family Guy actually filmed. What it showed us about his life is insane. Let's start with his school. Here's how they formally described Chris Griffin out loud in public.
All right, we'll drop the dumbest student we have. Chris Griffin is hereby expelled.
But if I leave now, I won't hear who's the dumbest kid in the school.
Expelled by name as a budget decision. And by the way, Chris's takeaway from getting publicly humiliated is that he gets to pee in his bed all day. But that's just a weird side note. What really matters is that Chris's stupidity is pretty much just permanently true. Chris is portrayed as a moron for the rest of the series, and a lot of times it's ruthless. There's a few times his genius shines through, and we'll get there. But before that, let's look at his first romance, which is somehow even worse than his grades. Season 4, Chris has a crush on his teacher, Mrs. Lockhart. She hands hands him what he thinks is homework.
Make a flip book of a stick figure whose head gets bigger and bigger and bigger and then pops?
This isn't a flip book, Chris. They're instructions. If we're going to be together, I need you to kill my husband.
It's a parody. Obviously, the show's doing the whole forbidden teacher movie bit. But on Chris's timeline, this is the first relationship. An adult handing a kid murder instructions. And his counter-offer is the most Chris thing ever recorded.
Maybe you could just get a divorce and we could live together in the fort under my bed.
Fine, I'll do it myself, but we're through.
She's planning a homicide. He's planning a sleepover. And the gap between those two sentences is the entire reason this romance was a crime. Mrs. Lockhart dumps him on the spot, which means Chris Griffin's first breakup is getting dumped for refusing to commit murder. Most of us just get a text. But before you file him under hopeless, I'll show you the best thing he ever does. The family's trapped on a runaway space shuttle. Mission control's gone, and the person who solves that is Chris.
I think I have an idea that could help us. In space camp, we learned about countering forward momentum with retro rockets. If we use them now, the ship might slow down enough for gravity to pull us out of orbit.
Retro rockets, from memory, from space camp. The kid his own school expelled as its dumbest student stabilizes his spinning spacecraft with half-remembered homework, and nobody outside that shuttle ever finds out. The show never really counts these smart moments. What the show does count is milestones, adult ones, way too early. And the first one starts, like most of Chris's problems, with Lois.
Chris, relax. The freshman hunt doesn't really exist. It's just a myth to scare freshmen.
Really? Oh boy, that's a relief.
Now have a good day at school, sweetie.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Freshman!
His own book calms him down, kisses him goodbye, and fires a starting gun on him. The hazing gets so bad, the mayor personally paddles him. That Chris does the only reasonable thing he can think of and flees the continent. He ends up deep in the South American jungle with a tribe. One night, he gets the whole village dancing, and the chief is so delighted, he makes an announcement.
This is a joyous occasion. You have engaged the entire tribe in dance. According to our customs, you are now married to my daughter. I couldn't be happier.
Well, if you're happy, then I'm happy, because after all...
Ultimately, when the tribe finds out that he's a freshman, they chase him off, and the Griffins leave South America to full sprint, spears behind them. That's Chris's first marriage. Now let's talk about his employment. Because when Chris gets a job, he doesn't treat it like a phase. Lois tries to shut it down, and he answers her like a man with a mortgage.
Chris, you are not taking Peter's job. You're a 14-year-old boy and you belong in school.
Why? So I can get a job someday? I already have a job.
And the job does to Chris what jobs do to everybody.
You want to keep it down in here? One of us has to work in the morning.
Chris, have you been drinking?
Yes. Have you been aging?
Yeah, that is exactly what his job has driven him to. And it doesn't stop there.
Chris is a failure.
Okay. Now we're going to the Swansons.
Hey, yo.
I think Chris is having a heart attack.
A heart attack from job stress before he's old enough for a learner's permit. Let's run his resume back. He got married, he got employed, started drinking, had a heart attack. A full adult life's worth of damage, and every line of it gets wiped clean by the next episode like it never happened. Season 15 runs it one more time, except this time the show means it. Chris is dating Isabella, an older single mom with twin boys. When she gets deported, he volunteers to raise her kids. He nearly quit school to get a job for them, so the pressure's real. Can Chris actually handle all of this? Then coyotes attack in the desert, and we get the answer.
Get out of here! You leave them alone! You guys, I've been big, and he got away with my friendship bracelet. You are a boy.
Please, you saved my babies.
Oh my God, Peter, we did nothing. We're his parents and we did nothing.
Chris passed the dad test. He even bled for it. And he does the most surprising thing in this entire video.
Isabella, being with you has been really great. But I think I realized my mom was right. I'm too young to be taking on this much responsibility.
I understand. But I know someday you will make an incredible father. Goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Isabella.
Yep.
That might be the most self-aware sentence anyone in this family has ever said, and it came out of Chris Griffin. He tried real adulthood with real stakes, did it well, and then chose to be 14 again. Okay, so at this point, Chris has already lived more adult lives than some adults. He's been married, employed, drunk from work stress, hospitalized from work stress, and then somehow he actually proved he could be a decent father figure. That should change the way the show treats him. It doesn't, because this is the real pattern with Chris. Family Guy lets him grow up just long enough to make it interesting, then snaps him right back into the dumb son template like none of it ever happened. Quick pause first. If you're 15 minutes deep into a Chris Griffin biography, you're my kind of degenerate. Subscribe, because I make videos exactly like this every single week. Okay, back to the timeline, because the next version of Adult Chris is the most brutal one. Season 19. Peter needs a mob cover story, so he shifts Chris to Sicily, and the show goes all the way with it.
La Dolce Vita de Due che Cuesta de Beverly Hills BMW. Ay,
Hey, yo.
che cosa, mio amor.
Italiana, tu patri, telefono, boiardia.
Grazie. Un momento finiteste verde con Carmine Ragusa. Ciao, Francesco de Napoli.
A full Godfather Sicily sequence, a wedding, a wife named Tammy, and if you've seen The Godfather, you already knows what happens to the Sicily wife.
Tammy!
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Married and widowed at the same time it takes to say her name. Chris Griffin, a teenager in a cartoon, has a dead wife, and the show never mentions her again. Not once. And once you've seen him get a whole life and lose it in one episode, you see it everywhere. Watch how fast these go by.
The man of the house killed a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Provider Chris. It only lasted one dinner.
Well, first I need to explain how I found them. Let me start from the beginning. You know how I operate a small internet company where I buy and sell chlorine, right?
Business Chris. Multiple side hustles. He's out of the chlorine game before the episode's over.
I'm Dylan, and this is my wife, Dylan.
Oh,
same name couple,
You're not
that's
wrong
the
about
dream.
the
I have an idea.
That
Why
got a
don't we all
chuckle out
play
of me.
Married Chris again, except it's posted. Him and my parents to sneak into an apartment complex. It's a very weird episode.
Welcome, fans-only subscribers. My dad fell in the shower, so we kind of need the money. Thank you.
Influencer Chris, funding the family with paid videos of himself sitting on food. He burns out and quits before the credits. That is the Chris Griffin adult life speedrun. Husband, widower, provider, fake husband, weird chlorine businessman, food sitting influencer, and every single version disappears almost immediately. No grief for Tammy, no business arc, no provider arc, no adult Chris, just one episode, one costume, one life, gone. Now, you could say that's just cartoon time. Everybody resets. Nobody really ages. Fine. Then explain to me why Chris's timeline keeps getting physically edited. Back in season 4, he's a freshman running from the freshman hunt. 9 real-world years later, season 13, here's where he is.
Well, right now he has a D- average. His only hope is his history final tomorrow. If he fails that, I'm afraid he'll have to repeat 9th grade.
Still in 9th grade. 9 years of real time later, still in the same grade. But frozen time is only half, because in the same episode, people start physically editing Chris's timeline. Stewie has a time machine. He decides to fix Chris's history grade with an actual field trip into the past, and before they go, he sets one ground rule that's going to matter for the rest of the video.
All right, we'll just tell Chris he's dreaming, because I don't want him to know about my time machine.
Chris will never know any of this was real. Remember that. They end up on the Titanic, the actual sinking Titanic, and when it's time to get off the boat, Chris's one true talent finally finds its moment.
You're the smart one in the family, and I'm the dumb one.
Now you're being too hard on yourself. Look, you may not be book smart or history smart, but you're throw people off the boat smart. And frankly, I'm starting to think that's the best kind to be.
Threw people off a lifeboat during the Titanic disaster, and Stewie basically goes, wait, maybe that was genius. Insane compliment, horrifying evidence. Then they get home, and the reality sets in.
I suppose. I just hope that Chris killing one extra man on the Titanic didn't alter anything in the present. There he is, Nigel Harpington. Wait, Harpington? Isn't that the name of Chris's history teacher?
Hold on, let me get this right.
Wow.
Chris throws a man named Harpington of the Titanic. That his history teacher, also named Harpington, no longer exists. So Chris didn't just pass his history class, he deleted the teacher. And because Stewie told him it was all a dream, Chris will never know he did it. Which brings us all the way back to that dinner Chris showed up late to with his horrible wife.
What a nice blouse, Vanessa.
Chris's wife. Oh, thanks. I'm not sure my tiny brain could have put that one together.
Well, I can't do it to them. They're my parents.
Don't you ever want to inherit this house, you fat? Or am I the only one who has any desire to move out from under the Power lines.
Oh,
What's that?
nah.
Oh, it's cancer.
Can we please
Oh, nah,
not
I'm not
do
that.
this
That
in
couldn't
front
be
of
me.
Pablo?
Even
It's
though that
30
does that,
years
that
in the
couldn't be. But
future,
you
and
did say that.
Stewie's
You
there
did say
visiting.
that.
This is the longest look at the grown-up Chris the show ever lets us have. Chris is in his 40s. He's married to a horrible woman named Vanessa and apparently lives under the power lines. Oh, and Meg goes by Ron now. The whole family, decades into the future, all together in the family living room. And then the episode ends with Stewie changing the past, which undoes this exact future. The fullest adult Chris that Family Guy ever put on screen gets erased by the same episode on its way out the door. So let's take note of where we are. His early childhood is mostly missing or secondhand stories. His adult lives get repossessed. The one long look at his future got deleted by his baby brother, which leaves exactly one column of the biography left to check: the deaths. Has Family Guy ever killed Chris Griffin? You'd think that's a yes or no question, but it's not that simple. There were some real attempts to end Chris's life. The first one is over hot dogs. Chris wins an eating contest, and the man he beat doesn't handle it well.
What are you doing here?
You dishonored me, Chris Griffin. No one has ever eaten more hot dogs than me. Now you must die.
A grown man breaks into a kid's bedroom to strangle him over a hot dog record. That's real. And Chris survives it thanks to the most single ridiculous rescue in the series.
Hey, fat ass! I got news for you. The news of the world. Ah! Why does robot hold dead people? Is that future or past?
Oh my God, Stewie! You saved my life!
The album cover scares the man to death. An actual fatal heart attack mid-strangle. Chris Griffin's life was saved by the discography of Queen. Moving on, because it gets darker. Season 19, Stewie decides Chris has to go over Rupert, the teddy bear. He rents a lake house, invites Chris up for dinner, and stages the whole evening like a Hitchcock movie.
Look, I'm afraid I can't let you go, Chris.
Stewie throws Chris into the lake because he thinks Rupert loves Chris more than him. It's planned, premeditated, and violent.
Wait, what are you doing, Stewie? You can turn around right now and go back home. This is your brother.
And then the nanny cam talks.
Okay, Rupert, so remember, we sit through a nice dinner and then you go back with Stewie. Because I love my little brother and so do you. You guys belong together.
He was going to give the bear back the whole time, and the nanny cam footage is one of the most loving and sincere moments in the whole show. Stewie threw him in the lake for nothing, but then dove in and dragged him back out. I need a second after that one, honestly. Okay, so those are the near deaths that count. Now the other kind. At the very end of the same episode that Chris adopts the two kids and gets attacked by a coyote, this happens.
Chris, time for dinner. We're having sloppy joes.
Oh boy!
We're having sloppy joes.
Yeah, I heard you. Oh dear God. Oh, they're all dead. No, please,
We're having sloppy joes.
Jesus, they show Chris can be a thoughtful and caring father, then end his life all in one episode. But then the show resets and Chris is alive and well the following week.
Meg, check it out. Make your own sausage station.
Are you supposed to be touching that?
They look like little poops. You must make me whole again. Never mind. This is my destiny.
He's sausage. He wants to be put back together until a hot German chick wears him as a necklace and suddenly it's his destiny. Sure. And the next time you see Chris, he's fine. No explanation, no recovery arc. The show simply moves on with no explanation. Strangling, drowning, mongooses, sausage. The show's thrown all of it at him. But there's one way Family Guy took Chris off the board that's different. And it's the one that actually got under my skin. Season 5, the timeline where Peter never marries Lois.
Peter, I am here with Glenn. You had your chance with me and you blew it. Now leave us alone.
Is that what you really want, Lois?
Yes, it is.
Well, I guess that's it. Who the hell am I kidding? I don't deserve her. Come on, Peter.
No injury, no joke, no body. Chris just fades out of a photograph. Back to the Future style, because in this version of events, he was never born. The timeline gets fixed by the end of the episode, but it was close. It was almost a world that simply didn't include Chris Griffin. So here's the full death record. Strangled, survived. Drowned, rescued. Mongoosed, reset. Sausaged, ignored. And once, for a few on-screen seconds, Chris was never born at all. The timeline just stopped including him, like he was a typo. And that's the weird tragedy of Chris Griffin. He doesn't have a life story, a real one. Birth, childhood, talent, school, marriage, work, fatherhood, a future wife, dead wives, near deaths, fake deaths, erased timelines. Every box is checked. Then Family Guy unchecks all of them. 24 seasons in, Chris is still 14. Not because the show never imagined him growing up. It imagined him growing up over and over. It just never let him stay there. Every adult Chris gets built, shown to us, and taken apart. The husband, the provider, the father figure, the guy at that future dinner table. All of them arrive for one episode, maybe one scene, and then vanish. So Chris Griffin's life story is not that nothing ever happened to him. It's worse. Everything happened to him. None of it was allowed to count. If you sat through Chris Griffin's entire life story, the least you can do is subscribe. I make one of these every week, and the next one's already in the works. See you there.
Man said that don't count. That's hilarious. Cut. Alright, goodbye, fellas. Thanks for watching. Buggers.